Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
So,
I'm just compared to the other mold mates.
Hi, welcome to TFYLP episode 453. We are live tonight, Wednesday, October 27th. Back from TFCon. I'm Lucas. I'm joined tonight by Christian.
What up?
And Peter.
Forever Destron.
And Phil.
Shout out.
And Rob.
No, you can't just
in this economy?
Veto your shout out.
So
calling HR on your shout out.
So I apologize for having to move to the show to Wednesday. We weren't able to find time to do a pre-record when we were at the show. So we had to move it tonight. And then, of course, we were late because Skype had an update. And, I didn't check that earlier.
Shout out to Skype.
But we're here now. So welcome, everyone.
Good evening.
So tonight we're going to go ahead and kind of do a recap of what we thought about the HasCon or PulseCon, whatever you call it, and TFCon, and then just to kind of get the timely news and whatnot, and then next week we'll show off some of the hauls that we got. So once we have a chance to unpack and whatnot, so. When I say we, I mean I, because I think everyone else probably already showed off their hauls. So
I still don't know what you bought.
I'm posting to Instagram right now.
Insta.
Did
I
I
carried
show
one of
you
my things through the airport.
what I got, Christian? No.
No.
There you go. It'll be a surprise for everyone.
I will be very surprised.
So
Both cons were crap, according to Zaldron. Oh, that's just not true.
sounds like somebody jelly that they didn't get to go, what they would say.
Yep.
yeah, you just have to.
I mean,
oh, sorry.
it was so much fun, in the after party, in the train to the airport with all the Ravens fans.
Mine had loud drunk people yelling across the train the entire time, and they would not shut up until they finally got off. But
Basically the same as Paul's suite every night.
it was actually more obnoxious, surprisingly.
Wow.
Yeah, so Paul apparently, decided to be a big baller and get a suite, but he didn't actually pay for the suite price because he somehow sweet talked the front desk attendant into switching his room to a suite. So
Get it? Sweet talk?
Oh.
there you go.
So where should we start? Do we want to talk about TFCon or PulseCon?
Well,
Let's get PulseCon out of the way.
I was going to say real quick, Zaldron was talking about MMC rung shipping, so that was one of the exclusives for TFCon. That they pretty much had the same thing that I think all of us already had ordered except for Phil. Is that right?
Not me. Yeah, I hadn't ordered it, and I wanted to get it at the show, and it sold out before I could get it because it was an exclusive. Doing that in air quotes because you could have bought it from a different vendor, so it's a weird exclusive. I guess that was exclusive vendor only at the show you could get it from. But I missed it, and I'm just gonna skip them at this point. If I find someone on Facebook selling them for a low price, I did get to see him in person. He comes with a lot of cool accessories, but he's a little bitty dude, and I don't know. I just feel like he'll get lost in my no pun intended, Lost Light shelf, just at that size.
I'm stoked for it. It shipped right after TFCon, so it's a real rung figure. Not, I mean, how are you gonna call that one small? And the only other one we have is that stupid thing. The whatever it is. I'm sick of that mold.
Some of us decide to take matters into their own hand, but luckily, I have the same luck as Peter, where once you get a custom finished, then someone makes it. So,
of course, this was the real exclusive. Was the New Age Megatron in micro change colors? At least one of the micro change colors. Is that right, Peter? I think it was, or was he only in black and micro change?
He was also available in the Man from U.N.C.L.E. gift set, which is the one that we know with the stock and silencer.
Yeah. Which was, I think, this guy was freely available. Well, not free, but available all weekend. I don't think it sold out.
I believe it went up on Chosen Prime today as well. I don't know if it sold out at that point, but
they seem to have a decent amount left on Sunday at the show.
Yeah. And so PulseCon,
where do we start?
Do we just want to start with the deluxes?
Shout out to the deluxes.
All right, I'll kick it off.
Does anyone have the Ravage? I haven't opened mine yet, but did anyone else get it?
Arrived a few
I got
hours
it.
ago.
I haven't opened mine. I'm debating if I will. It's a cool package. It's a G1 Ravage that we've seen before, but as they said, it doesn't have stickers. It's actually like a tampo. The new Ravage is pretty neat looking. I was worried from the pictures that the face would be kind of stumpy, and it's not like that. If anyone got the BotCon Tigatron from 2016, I was worried that this would have a stumpy face similar to that, and in no way, shape, or form does it have that. So
That one was rough.
it's not Pit of Judgment level cool in terms of the box, but it's not bad.
Was that the only PulseCon exclusive?
Oh, there was
No.
also a Galvatron.
Galvatron.
Oh, that's right, with the Unicron add-on kit.
Mm-hmm.
I did think it was weird that it wasn't available for shipping like immediately. Like they have it shipping in March or something, or May. It's like, why so late? We've been seeing reviews of this for months now.
Well, Ravage,
like
some of the
August.
Star
It's been a
Wars
while.
exclusives, had been on Pulse's website for a while. So my guess is these were a little more ready to go than what Galvatron may have been. It might simply be, hey, these were supposed to be for San Diego Comic-Con, which is usually late July, and maybe Galvatron was supposed to be for New York Comic-Con, which did actually take place, but Hasbro skipped it. So, I don't know. Shipping everything is screwy. The good news is that if you did get Ravage, you have it already.
Yeah, I think the short version is because of COVID. That's why everything is screwy.
Yeah.
Coming out whenever it comes out.
Because
Yeah, the Galvatron's cool. I like that it comes with the Minnow and the Quintesson ship and the Revenge and whatever else it came with. I don't know. It was neat. I like it a lot.
I kind of figured that pack was all the stuff other than the Galvatron that we were supposed to get with Unicron if it would have met like its like extended goals or whatnot, but it didn't do that, so they're like, let's just throw it in a pack.
I thought it met all the goals. Did I remember that wrong?
No. Well, Unicron, there weren't any, or like, was there one stretch goal maybe? I don't think
They
there was
announced
any.
things later on, but there were no actual stretch goals. They're like, oh, by the way, here's a fun new thing we're adding. His mouth does. His eyes go.
They do go that noise.
Yeah.
the Unicron was like that almost didn't get funded, and so they were announcing stuff just like, please buy this. Come on, we'll throw this in. Please, we put a lot of money into this. Someone buy it for the love of God.
We're making this either way.
Yeah.
And we did.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna actually see any like Hasbro whatever, stuff that's like $600, or if they're going to just stay at that like $400 price point. It seems like that's kind of the sweet spot for
I didn't see the
for
Proton
Hasbro.
pack today. What's that listed at?
$400.
$400.
$100. There we go.
But
Sounds Galvatron. Yeah, let's do deluxes. There were 4 of them. 3 of them? 4 of them?
Blue has 4.
4 of them. So we got
Skids.
first, Skids. He was revealed a couple days before PulseCon from IGN. That always happens every year. So we got Skids.
So I know that talking with the rest of the cast, like I'm pretty excited for Skids.
I like Skids.
I like
You shouldn't
the
be.
Thrilling 31, but this one's like G1 accurate. I wasn't going to get the masterpiece. This is in no way, shape, or form anywhere close to that, but I think it looks fine. Like I don't know, but I know everyone else is like hating on it.
Its legs literally look like a knockoff. They remind me of, and I mean, I don't even mean that as a joke, but like, look at some Sir Toys stuff that Anna gets on, where like it's all super hollow and like painted on one side. Like that's literally what it looks like.
I mean, the hollowness of the legs, like all the other deluxes are the same way. Like I looked at like Wheeljack.
They're not though.
They are. Like if you look
I mean, a lot of them maybe. That doesn't mean they don't look like knockoffs. Even
They usually have that strut in the middle of the thigh to break it up, so it visually breaks it up. But this, like, the entire thigh is one big gap, and and with the lack of paint inside, it's like, ooh, look at that.
That's the problem is that it's blue and then it's silver on the outside only, and it's been the hollow figures have been a problem for me. That's another reason why I kind of lost interest in Hasbro. But they've been doing that for years to cut costs at this point, right? But to me, that's like the worst it's looked yet. Like it keeps finding new ways to make it look worse.
I mean, I do agree. I think it would look a lot better if they painted the inside of the thigh. Like I think that would help. If it had silver paint instead of that like dark blue on there. But I think otherwise, like compared to the other deluxes, I don't think he's any more hollow. Like I compared him to a lot of the other ones, and they're very similar.
I didn't really notice the hollowness. To me, he's just too wide and boxy. If they just scrunched him in on the sides, like a millimeter on each side, it would help that figure drastically in both modes.
He could have really used a faux chest or a faux hood chest where the real chest folds away into his back somewhere, and then there's a smaller, leaner. Yeah,
they could just made the whole thing a little less wide. Overall, it'd been fine.
Yep. His
upper torso is a box, and his bottom half is all hollow stuff.
It's an odd choice. It's cool that Skids is getting a dedicated G1 figure, but that ain't it.
I think a lot of the redecos could look better because we'll get like crosscut and burnout and hopefully Skids and Screech down the line. I think paint could hide some of the boxiness if they painted around the edges of like the bumper of the car, the grill of the car. Paint can obscure those kind of hard lines that he has. So I think probably burnout won't fix it, but crosscut might look better. I'm also not a fan of the big plate behind his head.
The actual head plate, not the cowl thing. He always has the cowl thing, but
the cowl thing is fine. But the actual plate.
Yeah,
which is weird. Don't do that.
Yeah, that feels like too much of a G1 throwback, like a bad G1 throwback.
Yeah,
it's the legacy of G1, you guys.
Right.
Woo.
There you go.
But I'm betting it'll be fine in hand. I will get it because I like Skids. I will get that Skids. I like my IDW Skids. It's a different dude.
I like my IDW Skids, but he doesn't stand up very well, and neither does Crosscut. He just kind of it's over, and the way his legs move, he can't. I don't know. His posability is kind of wonky. So I'm glad we're getting an update. I wish the IDW, the 2014 one, had been a little bit bigger. Whatever. Maybe MMC will someday do a Skids that's in their MMC reformatted scale. I probably not, because it's like we've said before, the comic was canceled 5 years ago, and
The line's winding down. It's
Yeah,
the same though, because Skids
clearly.
is very important in that comic.
he
But
is.
alas,
Are we going to continue on with the deluxes or stay chronological in terms of reveals?
let's stay with
continue on
deluxes.
with deluxes, and we'll
Okay.
talk about RC next, just because we can. Yeah,
There's already better toys of that. The first edition toy is way better. The later toy that came out, like after the first edition from in the Prime line, is way better.
this
I don't
feels
get
like
it.
okay. I mean, we saw Bulkhead as well. We'll talk about him in a minute. But they're G1ifying RC and Bulkhead for this line, and probably Knockout later on. And it just doesn't feel like it worked.
I didn't
with
get that it
RC.
were G1ifying it. I thought it was just
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily G1ifying, but I feel like that they're fitting the Prime toys in with the aesthetics of the line. And so they're making but I feel like part of that is it's ways to make the retools and repaints easier to do. I think that's what it is more than them trying to match aesthetics.
Yes. And with RC, we've seen listings for the Velocitron line of Road Rocket. That's probably what this mold is actually supposed to be.
And of course, we'll get a Flame War out of this, more than likely. Maybe an Energon RC.
That would
I've
be
seen
cool.
the Digibath.
I've seen the Digibath for Flame
Yeah.
War.
Yep,
That
it looks good. I want that.
I'm
think
excited
maybe
just to
RC's
get a Flame
suffers from
War
being
since we
blue.
haven't gotten a representation other than I'm sure what are the 3 representations we've gotten?
Bakon 05, Bakon 14, and Prime Cyberverse.
Okay.
Peter has them all.
So the Bakons don't count because I don't want to spend that much money. And the Prime Cyberverse, okay, sure.
But then Prime First Edition stuff shouldn't count because who wants to spend that much money?
Okay,
like
sure.
I was looking at it now to see because sometimes if figures aren't available anymore, it's nice to get at least something on there for people. And yeah, first edition is like $60-$70. It turns out.
My goodness.
Yeah,
Well,
and
this is probably fine.
Yeah, this will be
Yeah.
fine.
and
And the
then there's
redeco. Go ahead.
other ones look like they're maybe I don't know $40. It's hard to get a beat on it. The Beast Hunters is even $60. So yeah, she's expensive. It turns out.
Especially in this
Prime's a very popular show. A lot of people came on board with it, and a lot of people still carry the torch for it,
Yeah.
even this many years later. So it's nice to see them come back to Prime. I do wish they would have kept the stylization of them, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about these. I'm not all that excited about non-screen accurate figures, I don't know. I would have rather just been looked like Prime instead of, this.
Yep, all together. I don't know. That's our.
I've said this
Hopefully the
before
Redecos will be
about. I've said this before about toys from Unicron Trilogy and on, is that a lot of the toys that came out then were pretty darn screen accurate. They might have been blockier. Obviously the first
They're
Hot Shot
good
we got-
toys.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things that when you do redo those characters or redo those toys, are you able to improve upon them? At least in terms of screen accuracy. And that's hard to do, especially by the time you got to the Prime toys. They were really darn screen accurate.
I mean,
be
even
concerned if they ever do animated. The same question: how would you ever
animated's
be
great.
better than animated
Yeah.
screen accuracy? You
Give
can't.
me some-
Not
I
really.
don't know.
Give me some more animated characters.
Yes, more.
But they don't need to be redone. I mean, I don't think anything Unicron Trilogy up needs to be done. Maybe even some of the robots in disguise stuff. A lot of that stuff is still great and looks screen accurate, which we'll probably get to in a bit. But
I think the only thing is that not everyone has those toys from back then, so I think there
Yeah.
is probably some nostalgia and whatnot, and people wanting to rebuy the toys. But then this probably just drives those people nuts because they're like, oh, thanks, like I got the toy, but then it's not, what I want. Because I know that who was it, Hot Shot, I think it was. People were complaining about that it could have been more accurate and whatnot. So
yeah, it's pretty close to that form of hotshot.
But this is the joke I made with Christian the other day. Is like, oh, good, you're upset that the thing you want doesn't exactly look like the thing you want. Like, welcome to G1 fans for like 30 years.
Took them a while to get there.
That's true.
Yeah.
But with the G1 fans, if you don't like how it looks, just wait a year and you'll get a new one. It's like Starscream.
But that wasn't the case,
whatever.
for ages and ages and ages.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
They got really close for us on some of those, and then just nope. Just to buy this much.
So, Kickback?
I think Kickback looks fantastic.
We like
Mhm.
Kickback.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's all right. The only thing I didn't like when I saw him was bug mode. His back half is very clearly his legs. Like, it just doesn't. It just jumped out at me,
Yeah.
But in the
Um,
cartoon, he
Like the
it was very
grasshopper does.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
I think they
I know that's
cleaned it
what-
up really well.
definitely looks like
Like,
Kickback.
It doesn't have like gaps like legs would have and other kind of modes. They really cleaned it up so it looks fine in insect mode.
I'm curious to see how it'll look in hand with the insect mode having the biological looking wings versus mechanical looking wings, because they said they were like sort of like still on this kind of Beast Wars kingdom kick. They're like, oh, we threw in these biological shaped looking wings. That I don't know. I'll be holding out judgment until I get that in hand to see how much I really like that.
Just gonna take those purple things he comes with off.
Yeah.
They look like giant blast effects. I don't know what they are. They need to go away. So I'm gonna put them in a
They're
bag and
ugly
never
is what
see them
they are.
again.
I don't know. It's funny because when this all started, we got Cliff Jumper and B and some of those, and you're like, oh man, they're slightly upscaling some of these legends to deluxe.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that kind of stings. But I actually really prefer, these figures a lot more. There's a lot more articulation on them. Like, they're a lot more solid, and all that. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's not great paying $22 for them or $20 or whatever instead of 10, but I like, the way these fit in my collection better than, the old Legends figures we got.
Well, I feel like they started to treat the Insecticons like a Legends scale toy, and to me, the Legends scale was more so for the mini bots. And like the mini bots and the Insecticons, we don't have to be complete slaves to G1, but the Insecticons are twice as big. Like, they're not. This guy, this feels like the size of what a deluxe, would evolve into. So it is nice to get the Insecticons in that size. We had Kickback in the War for Cybertron, and he was a deluxe figure, and that was a cool toy. A little bit a lot with that design, but it was still a cool toy, and I liked it at that size.
What I'm wondering is if we're actually going to get all three Insecticons in Legacy.
Well, it seems to me
We will get it within the next 3 years.
Yeah.
We're going to
Okay.
get them in 3 years in 3 different lines with 3 different shades of purple.
Oh God, no. Please.
3 different sizes and like slightly different. Like, I have the 3 Legends ones that they did over several, lines. But they don't really go together. You can put them together and squint, and it's fine. And
Hey,
I
Rob,
kind of
that's why I
The-
made that joke.
The early
that's
leaks
why I made the joke,
have
Rob.
indicated that we will get them within this trilogy cycle. They're not. There's no more Insecticons in Legacy. It's just this one.
Got it. I don't have a need for a different G1 Kickback, but if they do the e-hobby colors, I think that could be fun.
They
I
will.
really love to see those, and they seem to like Diaclone repaints.
They
Or
might make a
those
deluxe
microchange repaint.
Insecticon out of them. It's not exactly a direct translation, but still, you never know.
Yeah,
We like Kickback.
Will they do like Fans Project where they just do straight repaints of to the deluxe Insecticons and don't actually do them all?
Probably.
Hope not. I will get a Selects 3-pack, or they'll be in the Amazon whatever yearly pack,
Yeah.
or they'll show up in the Walmart series that year. Whatever, they'll come.
Golden Time Crisis,
I
Search
love
for
it.
Galaxy.
Golden Time Crisis is fantastic. Yeah. Zaptrap, Shot Hole, and Salvo, right? Salvo is Kickback.
Sounds
Ooh,
right.
yeah. It's always good to get a nod of approval from Peter. That's what I crave. I wake up in the morning and crave Peter's approval.
I wish I could get Peter's approval.
I was able to get
You
that
have Christian's
early on
approval?
this weekend when he's like sleeping in the same room as me.
So who's next?
Last Deluxe is
Strip.
Drag Strip, yeah.
Redoing the combiners.
Freaking magnets. How do they work?
Well, it's not going to be Scramble City according to the leak earlier today. It's going to be the way all the third-party companies did Minosaur, which is there's going to be a trailer that's a big skeleton, and Drag Strip's just going to peg onto the back.
Well,
You want
peg
to
onto
find-
the arm.
Onto the arm bit.
Or yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
the car's
Don't
going to
find
peg on.
Drag Strip
Sorry,
will peg on to
Fine.
the arm.
But
Yeah.
putting aside Minosaur for a moment, because we haven't seen Drag Strip himself, I think looks fantastic. They're finally back to the 6-wheel mode, which they haven't done since G1. Yes. So, yeah, I'm excited for him. He looks great. The yellow looks great. The face looks great. Love him. Clearly the winner of this wave.
Both Decepticons fared better than the two Autobots.
Yes.
And yeah, Drag Strip is my favorite.
So we had a chat going whenever they revealed that, and I know Phil, you were kind of mentioning you're like, I was thinking about getting the fans toys, but now that I see this, like I'm thinking of going Hasbro, and I really thought you were joking, but then apparently after talking to the show, it actually sounds like you might be serious.
I have a display of Decepticon combiners. They are a combination of third party and Hasbro with Predaking and Devastator in there. The only one I'm missing is Minosaur. So the question is, can I build a good looking Minosaur that will kind of fit in well in that shelf? And that shelf, they don't all scale well because I've got the Fans Project Dino King, which is he's a little bit smaller. And the Piranacon doesn't quite match the height either. So if Minosaur was a little bit smaller, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And quite frankly, in this economy, to get a mainline Minosaur is going to save me a lot more money. I mean, I could practically build Minosaur for the cost of one Fans toy limb. Not exactly. It's a little bit more, but that is something to consider. And I'm not saying I'm definitely going to do that, but it's a high consideration of mine.
I mean they're completely different worlds.
They are. I
Yeah.
get it. I know it won't match aesthetically, but
Well, that shelf of yours already doesn't match.
it's
all
already
over the
hodgepodge.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if you enjoy the figures, go for it.
Yeah.
But I think, like Drag Strip is a good example of, yeah, they're making the figures hollow these days, but that figure doesn't look like a hollow mess. It's a little bit under the knee, but it's not like Skids where it's just like, here's your pool.
Drag Strip has the covers.
Yeah, he's got covers. His upper thighs are a solid piece, or if it's hollow, it's on the back at least. So you can't see it.
I think he probably benefits from having to have that third mode and be a functioning limb for a larger robot.
Well, I don't think he is. I think he's just a car, and you plug him on. I don't know if it's not really a functioning mode anymore.
That's
Not
true.
like
we haven't seen. I would be willing to wager that it's a bit more than that.
So I'm really
bet you a taco that it's effectively just slapping a car on there.
I will
Shout
take
out to
that bet.
tacos.
Shout out to tacos.
I'm really curious what they're going to do with the rest of the combiners. I was talking about this with Christian earlier today. This makes a ton of sense. there's a Minosaur that, he was definitely the weakest combiner of Combiner Wars. So redoing that was like a no-brainer. The third parties kind of showed us like how to do it. And so, I think that like this just makes a lot of sense. But like, are we going to do the other combiners? And if we do the other combiners, how's that going to fit out? Because like Minosaur has a trailer, and so it makes sense that he has that and has all the parts hidden in that. But like, what do you do for, Superion? What do you do for, whatever the other
Trailer for a plane.
Okay,
It's
hear me
luggage
out.
carriers. Luggage carriers.
There you go.
We saw the
hotspot.
the announcement today that it's going to be a trailer type frame, and the elbows are going to be somewhere included in there. So maybe drag strip breaks in half, and we plug them in somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what if they are scramble combiners and they plug in with their scramble ports, so that future combiners that come out in this format can still scramble and do, Destron Super Scramble or whatever? What if?
It's possible.
I mean, a lot of the third-party combiners have just said, "Hey, here's your middle chunk of your torso. It's not part of the other bots. This is live with it. Just live with it. You get individual bots and alt modes that look good, and you get a combined mode that look good. And you just have a big chunk of plastic that goes into a drawer when you don't have it combined. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's nice when they don't have to do that, but I think that should be reserved for 6-member teams like Lio Kaiser, Raiden, or Devastator. We've seen with the third-party stuff that it functions better if you just have the framework, the chunk, whatever.
Yeah.
It just works.
I mean, I don't think that Hasbro is going to do that exactly, but I could definitely see it where it's just a base. Like, this is the, aircraft base, or this is the, whatever kind of thing.
That's fine. Peter.
I really want to see a new Computron. I don't feel like the first Computron we got through Combiner Wars, even the Takara one was, it was all
they needed
old.
upgrades.
He was
Yeah,
a comp out.
Yeah,
Had to-
and I don't think any third-party company has done a great Computron, and he's probably my favorite Autobot combiner.
Like, this is the only problem I have with them. Hey, we're redoing the combiners. Start with Minosaur again. Like, oh my God. Like the third parties did the war over it when there's so many other combiners that they don't touch, or they get, kind of shoved in repaints. Like at least Piranacon, they did a good bit of remolding, and that figure doesn't stand for crap, but the figures look cool and they look pretty on point.
Mine just fell over the other day.
Right, because I think Lucas is right in that this is a makeup for the worst combiner of Combiner Wars. Because they don't come worse than
also the fact that the glut of third party is like, oh, people like this. It's like when there was the glut of third party Devastators was around the same time we got Combiner Wars Devastator. So Hasbro, I think, is trying to ride those third party waves.
Like I think if they're gonna do another combiner, it's probably gonna be like Superion, right? Like one of the A lists. When I really would rather them say we're going to do a real Computron instead. That would get me to buy it.
If it's
I'm
me,
not going to buy
I think
this.
Defensor is second, because I think Defensor is the second worst combiner of Combiner Wars. Like, I think they will do them in that order. Maybe they won't. I have no support for this whatsoever.
And there's no even.
You know what? You do have support because there's 2 third-party Defensors right now coming out.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like, plus they like to alternate factions between the larger size classes each year. So Minosaur or Motormaster would then flip to Autobot, Hotspot.
No.
It makes sense. It's either.
But we have no
Defense or
guarantee that we'll
Superion
even get another one of these style combiners because it is what is it going to take us?
It's
a year
new
and a half
ground
to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's new ground in that it's not with Combiner Wars. It's the whole line gimmick, and they all scramble city. So.
One's nifty
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
I mean, it's how they were able to, I think, churn them out without worrying about unique engineering for all of them. In Superion, if they want to do the animation thing again, like, Skeleton, again, what do they do about it? Because you can't put a trailer on a plane. I mean, you can, right? Like, but it's the
I think
same
that's
thing
what
where the
Lucas
planes
is
just
saying,
kind
they
of
have, like,
plug in.
They'll do it
base sticking
Skylink
out
style,
yeah.
where there's a big cargo thing underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just saying it's another case of we have to find a unique solution for it. As opposed to Combiner Wars where they had it figured out, for the whole line.
They could do a new HasLab, $700 plus, and that's where the frames for Computron and Superion and Defensor and all those guys, they're only available there, and the actual HasLab figure is a really kick-ass wheelie, or I don't know, scrounge. It's scrounge. I'd pay for a scrounge.
$600 for a scrounge.
I already
That's
paid
what
for
they-
a scrounge.
Yeah, we did in Combiner Wars with Computron.
Yeah, that's the only piece I bought from that. Found somebody that wanted to sell it off, so I just bought that. It looks nothing like scrounge, but I bought it anyways.
It has his head. That's fine. It's close
Yeah,
enough.
yellow. Kind of a wheel.
The only thing I don't like about drag strip here, it doesn't fit in my collection really, but is that, and this is just unavoidable, whenever there's just solid yellow plastic, it looks cheap. It's something about the way it's that half translucent that yellow plastic has, and this isn't Hasbro's fault or anyone's fault. That's just how yellow plastic looks, and it's unappealing if you don't paint it.
It's the color yellow's fault.
Shout out to yellow.
They've gotten better at it, but yeah.
The
This
wheels are
drag
really
strip-
bad.
Mr. Destron, will you help me this time? Because I didn't do it in Combiner Wars. Will you help me get the appropriate number of duplicate torsos and limbs to form the extra combiners?
Yeah.
Like Super Scramble and Scramble 7 and
Yeah.
Abominaticus. And okay, cool. I
Yeah.
need to make sure I get them all this time. I'm not
Okay.
making that mistake again.
We can do
Gotta
that.
catch 'em
Awesome.
all.
Yeah.
Combiner Wars.
I will
I
probably
think
buy.
Catherine just
Combiner
said
Wars.
in the chat that she likes seeing Hasbro trying new things like this. And I don't disagree, but at the same time, this isn't really new. This is Hasbro borrowing ideas from third party. This third party borrowed Hasbro's IP. Hasbro's borrowing third party's engineering.
Who mentioned that?
Catherine.
Shout out to Catherine.
So, Catherine was asking too whether or not the drag strip will become yet another Mirage, and I do think that part of the reason they're doing combiners, a couple things. One, it entices people to buy 5 figures. 2, a lot.
6.
What 6?
And this because of the trailer.
Oh well, isn't Motormaster
It's a
coming
commander.
with the trailer?
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
according to the leak.
Yes. What? Are you crazy?
That's
No,
why.
Yes.
I thought it was a.
It comes as a commander bit.
That was a
It's
commander.
Motormaster.
Oh, that's
and a
right. You're right.
trailer.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But again, that justifies the commander price point or whatnot with it.
Yeah.
So I think that that's part of it.
I
There
would
is-
buy another set for a Masquerade combiner. I would.
I think if
They love doing selects repaints, but I don't know. We got Piranacon and God Neptune. I don't think I think a G2 version is a given.
G2 probably, yeah.
I don't know.
And
I
I
think
will
G2
probably
would
pick-
like the Masquerade.
Those
I would-
sets.
I would
Last
buy
G2
that.
sets did not sell.
Yeah.
They do now.
Do they really?
Really?
Orson had them up for like 220, and they went immediately.
That's good. That's
And
so-
Orson, if you know, his stuff was all cheap.
Well then, look
Yeah,
who's selling all the
G2
G2 combiners.
That's
At least G2. I mean, Superion and
Hit
Minosaur
me up if you
G2s.
need 'em.
Yeah,
that's hilarious
They all got
because
the
for so
appropriate upgrade
long
kits.
those
they rotted.
They rotted. They were
I
what
think
$30
Serge said he
at
found
all.
his on Hasbro Pulse's eBay for, or not even Hasbro Pulse, Hasbro Toy Shop's eBay for like $15 for the set.
Yeah, was that Superion that did that too?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So
I mean, yeah. I wonder if
It's
they
still
just
the
ended up
best one.
destroying a bunch of them, and now it's limited, and people just want to spend.
I would be
All right, well,
yeah.
good.
I would
Sorry,
be
I'm just laughing at
excited.
Daniel's comment that the $600 scrunch HasLab better have blast effects for Christian.
Shout out to Blast Effects.
No, do not shout out Blast Effects. Damn it.
Yeah, a G2
Oh.
one, I think, is a given. Masquerade would be a pretty interesting select set.
I don't want them to do what they did in Combiner Wars, though, and like do that Autobot combiner that doesn't tie into anything from the fiction.
Run
It's
him
just
into the
like,
ground.
because it's like, to me, I don't want that to be a new precedent that they set, that's now a combiner that they're going to do.
Stop trying to make it a thing. It's not a thing.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think I've
make that
mentioned
a thing,
this
Hasbro.
on this
It's not
show
fetch.
before, but I do. If you add up the price points from a Commander plus 4 Deluxes, it does roughly turn into a Titan price point. I feel like with Black Zarek making a debut in Selects as a Titan Select, we could definitely see combiner sets in Selects that way. You wouldn't have to buy each component. You just boop, boop, combiner. Done.
You mean like
God, Neptune.
Abominus and Volcanicus? We were already seeing combiner select sets.
Yeah, but those were leftovers. This is for the new thing. I don't know. You're probably right. I'm probably overthinking it.
And those were way more expensive than a Titan.
That's true. They were.
Yeah.
So, short version, Autobot's pretty blech. Decepticons, pretty eh.
What about
Moving on to Voyager, we got
pretty good.
one Voyager. We have a rumor about the second one. We'll get to that. But yeah, Bulkhead is the Voyager. He was released, or not released, he was shown a few days earlier in IGN along with Skids. We kind of mentioned him with RC. He's like a G1-ified prime animated Bulkhead.
So, like, with the RC, it wasn't clear to me that they were G1ifying Prime RC. That didn't come across at all. This did come across.
Yes. This
Pretty
is a
in-depth.
better execution. I was mad at it for the first few hours after I saw it. And then I was like, you know what? This has grown on me. I kind of accept this.
I dig the idea. I don't.
I do too.
The toy left me feeling kind of meh.
I agree with Rob. It's funny because I really like Inferno and Grapple, but the whole idea of the front of the cab, just like the arms flipping out and the legs flipping out from that, the way that Bulkhead style is. If you do it well, like you did on the new Grapple and the new Inferno, it doesn't look as blocky. But again, he's not as blocky as Skids, but he is really blocky with that design and engineering choice that they made. And it stinks because I've seen them do recent non-masterpiece, but the Kingdom Inferno and Grapple, not Kingdom, Earthrise Inferno and Grapple, like they pulled that off really, really well. And
I think it's because they're leaner. They're leaner and taller characters, where Bulkhead's a little bit shorter and wider. And like we saw with Skids, making it so wide makes it look off.
Yeah, I mean, but with Bulkhead, you could have gone a lot of different ways. We've never seen a Bulkhead that looks like this. I just feel like it's
Age of Extinction Hounds alt mode, or
Yeah.
Last Night Hound, one of them,
Yeah.
whichever one of them.
It's more like that than and less animated / prime chunky boy Bulkhead.
But it's like that Hound was live action Bulkhead anyway, so I guess they all borrow from each other.
I don't know. Whoever that character was liked murdering creatures, so I don't think it was either Hound or Bulkhead. So
Probably right.
shout out to Murder.
No, we're not shouting out to Murder.
The Bulkhead, I will say, doesn't look very hollow. Like, it seems like they filled in a lot of his bits, right? Like the legs, at least, and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the dark green, while it is a little monotone, I think does help hide some of that if there is that in there.
Yeah, I got it.
Fine.
Yeah, I pulled him up. Yeah, he doesn't. I'm sure he's hollow on the inside, but it's just like me. The pieces wrap around or whatever, so that it doesn't look near as off-putting.
It is
Something we've
interesting
seen-
to think of what we're going to get in terms of Knockout. If Knockout will be in this same vein, because unlike RC and Bulkhead, I don't feel like we've ever gotten a really great Knockout toy. So this, I think, but I was excited for us to get a really good screen accurate Knockout toy, and I'm thinking we might not get that yet.
Not sounding it.
Probably not.
That
What I've
Knockout toy
noticed-
sucks for such a cool character. Toy
Yeah.
sucks.
Pretty bad. What I've noticed with all the figures we talked about so far, I think they all come with these extra little energon weapons or clear plastic weapons that are not theirs. They don't haven't belonged to them in the past. But that would kind of look like they link together to do something. I don't know. There's something more at work there, I think. But they're not blast effects, and that makes me very happy.
Yeah, I was gonna say they look better than blast effects, so there's that.
So who's the other Voyager that is rumored? I don't think I've heard that, or I've forgotten it.
Okay. This is going to go to conspiracy territory, so please stay with me here. We've seen the leak list, and we've seen the end of the leak list for Kingdom. We also have big bad listings that have Bulkhead listed with mystery secret figure. It's not a secret. There was supposedly going to be, and may still be, another wave of Voyagers for Kingdom that includes Blaster. When BBTS lists secret figures, they're typically repacks so far. So this should be a repacked, or if Wave 5 doesn't come out, first packing of Blaster.
Yeah. I just pulled up the BBTS listing and it literally says secret figure.
Yeah.
The
leak list for Legacies list Blaster in the first wave. The leak list for Kingdom list Blaster in the last wave. So presumably it'll be a holdover if that comes out in Kingdom, or it'll be the first release if it comes out in Legacy.
But a secret figure could be anything, even a boat.
Even a boat.
Shout out to boats.
Shout out to boats. Need more of them in Transformers line. So yeah, other Voyagers probably Blaster, or it'll be not Blaster. We'll see.
That brings us to
Laser Prime. He's made of lasers.
He looks wonderful.
He looks amazing.
I thought it was interesting
Does
that
he though?
they reused a lot of parts from the Optimus Prime legs, the Earthrise one.
You know what? Good. Fine. That's a good mold.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it close enough to notice that. Wow.
The thighs look the same. Otherwise, I think they're pretty different.
So there's no vents or whatever on the front, but I think otherwise the legs look pretty similar. Like it has that little, I don't know. Like a lot of the molding is similar.
so
It's got the trailer, and the trailer transforms actually into the base, which is awesome. Love it.
I think
the truck mode looks weird to me. Am I the only one that you know how Skids is wide, but he's got like these little tires at the bottom? That's what the truck looks like. He's got this big cab and then this little tire in the front. I don't know. It looks off-putting to me.
I'll wait for Scourge on this mold.
You'll be at Walmart next year.
Because it's blue. Tiny bit. Hints of it.
I think that Toy Hacks is very excited for this.
Yeah, big old decal of Optimus burning down a forest. That's what we want.
I found
I
this.
will buy all the repaints of this. Please give me Toxitron, finally. Please also give me Laser Magnus. And Shattered Glass Magnus. And Shattered Glass Optimus. I'll buy them all. I will buy every single one of them.
Do you think that Laser Magnus will actually come out?
Laser Magnus, I think, is one of the least likely.
Yeah.
You could probably get me on a Toxitron on this. I'm not going to buy the normal version because I have the normal version. So, like the original. It's another
Lucas
case.
has a theory that Hasbro's going after all the Bakan and Club figures, so Toxitron would fit.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, that's my theory. That I don't know. I was telling Christian that I have a theory that the BotCon guys keep calling Hasbro to try and get rights again or whatever to the convention, and that they just got so annoyed that they're like, you know what, we're just gonna release all the old BotCon figures. We're just gonna redo them all. So that's my theory.
Got Shattered Glass and Road Rage and Bug Bite and now Lift Ticket from this evening. They're going after him.
I would say that while I think the old figure still holds up and is awesome, like if you were saying, hey, let's do this in the modern line, I think it looks like they did a good job of bringing it to the modern line. I don't know, again, feel the need I need it, given I have the original, and then the Fans Hobby one is out, which is awesome as well. That mold is. But this is obviously going to be much more in a lot of other people's price points and size. It's cool that they're doing the trailer in the base because they've been so hesitant on that stuff for so long. Unless it's like, oh, it's a Titan, now you can have a base. Unless it's the Arc, which we're going to make it transform into a robot for some reason instead. But I don't know. That's cool. Oh, there you go.
They did do it there, but you're right.
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing bases even times when they don't need it, like Quintesson's chair and Astro Train's extra trailer. So
I forgot about those.
There
Yeah.
were a whole class of dudes in Earthrise who were bases.
Did
Sure.
Micromaster
Modulator
Just-
friends were all bases.
Oh.
yeah.
I mean,
But
if
it
those
is-
are
I do-
bases, you can just literally lay down any figure flat and be like, the base now.
Grandis.
That is Grandis style.
Yeah.
I do
Hard to
like
think
though
of a
that
worse
you
base.
have the separate toy and the separate base. Again, Rodimus, Kingdom Rodimus has the same thing, but like I missed that with the Titans Return Power Master Optimus Prime, where it was all
Yes.
consolidated into one figure versus being able to have the two parts and like, oh, you got the base and Optimus is standing in his base, because that was a fun play feature for me as a kid. It was the idea of getting a toy of a robot and a base that your little guys could sit in and defend was always fun, because it just was like you got a lot. You got a whole like additional like narrative and storyline that you could build from that play feature.
I'd buy
That
a
was-
Commander Power Master Optimus.
Sure.
That was one of my favorites as a kid, and I still love that toy today. I think it's a fun toy. I have all the repaints of it, and that one in Titans Return is the most disappointing thing. I
Yeah.
hate that thing, and I got rid of it because I wanted to like it so much, so hard, and it just
A lot of the Titans Return base modes are like, I guess it's a base.
The stickers.
I think Blaster and
they were
Soundwave
amazing.
pulled it off the best.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they didn't need to be bases, so
No. 6-shot that it's like, no, the tank mode gets a little fold down and it's a artillery station.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
How's PulseCon? At least for Transformers.
Yeah.
I did like the way they revealed the new stuff. They had like images of the previous figures flash before they showed the new one. I thought that was a really cool way to do that. I hope they do it more.
Yeah, I agree.
It was really good to see Rachel back from maternity leave. She was missed. I missed her. She knows how
shout out to
speak at these
maternity
things.
leave.
Shout out to maternity leave. Also, someone decided that Mark should look like an actual human and gave him a haircut and a makeover. I don't know. He looked nice and presentable this time. I was impressed. And he gave us one of the
he
best
sold
moves
out.
of the weekend.
He sold out.
What did you say, Christian? He did what for the weekend?
He gave us one of the best memes of the weekend.
What's that?
Shout out to best
Shout out
memes.
to-
Shout
Shout
out
out
to
to Best
shout outs.
He said that like 500 times.
Yes.
And we said it probably 1,500 times.
Well, I was wondering if someone listening to the show, is sitting there going, like, why are they saying shout out constantly? So there.
I hope they
that's
are.
why. If you've listened this,
I wasn't
That's what
going
we
to
do
spoil
now.
the magic.
We've let you in on the joke. That's the last time we'll do that.
He probably
Not
was
shouting
high
out,
end
let
one.
you in. That's the last time.
Yeah.
We'll
no,
still
we're
say
still
shout
gonna use
out
the
all the
joke. I'm gonna use that joke till someone punches me. But it probably
Hard to do
won't.
now that we're all apart again.
I plan on using it enough that someone will say, no, I'm gonna drive up to Chicago and punch Phil. Because he deserves
Honestly,
it.
there's 2 other cast members in Chicago, and there's plenty of other people in Chicago as well. Like, you're going to get punched now.
I don't think there's any people in Chicago. It's all
It's empty.
just
The
cardboard
desert.
cutouts.
I have scores of cousins in Chicago, and you don't know any of them. So I can send any one of them. Well, not any one of them.
With
I
a
can
sock
send
full of
probably
pennies or
one of
something?
them. Yes, they will find you.
There's some
Why
random
would
people
you?
walking
It's
up
such
me
a
on the
fun
street
joke.
and
I'm not
punching
a-
me, and I'd just be like, I probably deserve it.
shout out to punching you, pop. You're like, oh, that's what that was.
Like, Peter sends his regards.
I'd be mad for a second. Maybe more than that. That hurt.
So overall, I thought the PulseCon like reveal section where it was a little drawn out, but it wasn't bad. You know, and like you said, the bits they put in there were cool. But it still keeps surprising me. It's like they have these events where they have a dedicated audience, and like they don't show everything because like Lift Ticket just came out today. It was like literally 3 days ago you were talking about new toys. Like what? I don't know. It's just interesting how it operates these days.
They keep us on the hook, and the more we have to scramble for pre-orders from Hasbro, the less money we have to scramble for pre-orders from third party.
And they did want to do the dedicated 1027 thing, which is a reference to the address their building is on in Pawtucket, not the Providence one, but the Pawtucket one. And it's like, that's cool and all that today's October 27th, and that's the same as the address, but like you just did the event. Like maybe it's not that important to have it be the same number. I don't know. The event today was cool. I liked seeing the little tour inside. Like that was neat. It was a good event to have. Just it is weird to have them within 4 or 5 days of each other.
I was busy today, so I didn't get to see it, but I did like that they did something special for premium members. Yeah. I'm not saying that we have to get a ton of additional stuff as a premium member. I personally think the premium membership is worth it without additional stuff. But hey, this is something you're doing already. Give both an incentive for people who aren't premium members to sign up, and give a little extra bone to the people who are premium members to make them feel special.
I didn't know there was an event today. I just heard that Lift Ticket was out for pre-order.
Oh, yeah, they revealed him at the event today.
Okay.
Do you know what else they revealed? Alley Viper.
I don't know what that is.
It's one of the snake terrorists.
Oh.
G.I. Joe that I'm very excited about. It's one of the only original G.I. Joe toys I still have left. This guy is supposed to be able to sneak up on you in an alley because I guess he blends in with graffiti, but it's just this. It's just this late '80s, early '90s, just garish goodness that's getting a new updated figure, and I can't wait.
I'm just imagining that guy like creeping around in broad daylight, being like, "You can't see me."
He's in line at Starbucks. A large macchiato for LA Vipar. Is there LA Vipar? Your coffee's ready?
It's a weird thing. Yeah, the event today was nice. I agree. It's nice to have a little something for the premium members.
Yep.
But that's like Hasbro stuff. Oh, we found out that Cheetor was going to be in Rise of the Beasts. They had a little interview with the dude from In the Heights, who's also in
the actor. That's
Rise of
right.
the Beast.
I'm very sad that there's a movie called Rise of the Beast for Transformers, and it's a reveal that Cheetor is in it instead of a bunch of cars that we know about, like a whole bunch, like typical casts. It's just.
Well, they reiterated that Primal is voiced by Ron Perlman again, which is cool.
For his 8 minutes of screen time.
There's 3 minutes of screen time. You're right.
I'm here now.
So now, do you think this is going to be similar to like when they did the Dinobots in Age of Extinction, where like they have the whole movie and then like just at the very end they're like, "Oh, hey, look at that."
I would love to be wrong, but yeah, I do.
Huh.
I think
it's not even going to be
Transformers Kingdom, where they're all chasing 5 different MacGuffins.
There you go. That's what it is.
Shout out
I don't
to
think
MacGuffins.
Yes, shout out to MacGuffins.
I don't think it's going to be any of those. I actually think it's going to be a post-credit zinger where the beast finally rises out of the ground or something, and that's it. Like the rest of the movies, like the rest of the time they're looking for the beast, and the movie ends with, "I guess we'll never see them." And then it's a teaser.
And they return to their home planet.
Yeah. And then out comes, a monkey hand and a kitty cat, and Ron Perlman says, "Urgh."
Where's
That's
that
Prime. And then the
That's
end.
Prime.
Bumblebee was okay. This movie has room to be okay.
There you go. All right, should we move on to TFCon?
Yes.
Where do we want to start?
I went
We
to
already talked about the
TFCon.
exclusives.
I also went to TFCon.
I
A lot of
may
us-
have also seen you guys. Wait, were we all at the same place at
We
the
were
same
all
time?
It's
there.
amazing.
What?
And
not
if
just
anybody's
us.
wondered,
Only half
Yeah.
of Peter's in the picture, so we don't know if his full self was there.
we had
Ah.
another picture.
We found another picture. Antoine took a picture.
Yes.
Antoine was there.
Oh,
Shout out to
And-
Antoine.
Antoine got
Shout out
plenty
to
of pictures.
Antoine.
Shout out to Antoine.
Yeah. Because I'm
having the
horrible at
foresight
taking
to-
pictures too. And so,
I took none.
yeah.
I think the issue is a lot of the pictures were taken Thursday night before Peter got there. And
Yeah, Rick took a bunch of pictures Thursday night. I was also not there
And
But I was
Catherine
calm.
was there.
at midnight. That was fun.
And Anna was there. Rick was there. Who else was there
Serge.
from the cast? Serge, Paul.
Avery was there. He's been on one episode. He's not a cast member, but he did guest.
And he's been on. Nick was there.
Yep, Nick was there.
I mean, I think
We had
the
a-
entire active cast was there. Like, there's some, like Sean hasn't been able to come on too much lately. Jack hasn't been on in a while.
Yeah.
Jim hasn't been on in a while.
Swift has
Don is dead to us. So,
And
I
quite
think-
frankly, if you weren't at TFCon, you're no longer part of the active cast. So if we forgot you, this is you being cut.
And the
Did
real
you wanna
reason-
hang out with us? We don't like you anymore.
and the real reason we didn't record a show there is because we didn't want to.
Yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
it, and it was like, this is going to be a pain. It's going to
No.
be a lot of effort. Nah.
We're here having fun, socializing. Let's continue to do this. And
We're
so
like,
we
let's
did.
go Sunday. And by Sunday, we're like, I'm tired.
What?
Very
Yeah.
tired.
I've found out why I don't normally stay up till 4 a.m. in my real life. It's because humans need actual sleep.
No,
Sleep?
no. What's the
Sleep's
fun
what
thing
you
to
do
Chris?
after the convention.
Which
Chris,
I
the fun
did.
thing to do is fall asleep in the middle of partying with people, and then when your friends are talking, you fall asleep and then laugh at their jokes and then fall back to sleep.
This
Yeah.
this is what you do. This is what you do.
This is what I do.
That's the
There
move.
was so much in my
Shout
high
out to
school
falling
that was
asleep at
just
parties.
like that. That was just falling asleep in class, and the teacher asking me something, and I'd have an answer, and then they'd be like, "How did you hear this?" And I'd fall back to sleep again.
That's an incredible skill.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it's
don't
a fun
know
time.
how
I mean,
managed it.
all the fun times I had were not related to the con itself because it was TFCon. TFCon is literally always exactly the same. It never changes, but
Well,
It's not
it
bad.
was good.
though.
It's not bad.
I feel like
It's
I
consistent.
I saw the fewest panels that I've ever seen. I think Rick's panel is the only one that I actually went to. And I really wanted to go see Bob Budiansky, but unfortunately we had a snafu at the Potbelly. And
The worst potbelly ever.
Yeah, so
They had a technical issue, and it was tough for them to recover.
I don't blame the employees. I blame the employee that walked off that started the technical snafu, but the ones who remained, it wasn't their fault, and they were doing their best.
I'm very glad I did not go in on the potbelly order.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
tasty.
It was
Eventually.
a really good sandwich.
Says the guy
Now,
that
if you
didn't
were
even get the
additionally
sandwich
hungry,
he
so it
ordered.
tasted even better.
Still tasty.
I think it was all about the socializing. But I mean, even
Yeah.
BotCon for the longest time, has been just about the socializing. The toys were, yeah, sure, fun, bonus, blah, 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 maybe some panels or signings or whatever, but it's always been about the socializing. But there was an insane amount of socializing, which I think, everybody obviously really, really needed and wanted. Colin, when he was on the show, a couple weeks back, he was 100% correct. Masks were enforced.
They were.
It was good. The dealer room was a huge space and everything was really spread out. And I wish they could always be that way. I don't always want to still be in a pandemic, but I loved how spread out the dealer room was. It was very easy to walk around and see stuff, even though there were a lot of people there.
And
Yeah, it's the
that's not to
busiest
say
I've
that
ever
it's-
seen a TFCon dealer room.
Yeah, and that's not to say just that it was spaced out, that it was empty by any stretch. It's not saying
No,
that
no.
it was full, and there were tons of people, but the tables were spaced out. There was enough space to display everything with lots and lots and lots of awesome product.
And that's one thing, Lucas, that I would say. This is not like every other TFCon we've been to. Yeah, like they do start to run the same, but this one was busy. This one was really hopping. The dealers were
selling out of stuff on Saturday.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
there was a lot.
It was ridiculous. I've never seen
demand.
it like that.
Like, it was crazy. Like, it's one of those things where Orson, like, he brought a lot of stuff and, like, he sold through, like, his booth was totally empty, you know, where he had people putting up, you know, like, selling stuff on consignment on Sunday. And it wasn't just him, like, across the...
You're welcome.
Yeah, across the way, TF Source sold out of, like, almost everything. I mean, it was just crazy. Like,
any booth you saw that wasn't like looking like a barren wasteland by the end of the show is because the prices were too high and people were like, "You're dumb," and I'm walking on. Shout out to high prices.
Like I tried to be Mr. Smooth Bargain Man. I found some Action Masters that I liked at a vendor and was like, "Oh yeah, would you go down $10 on these?" He's like, "No," and I was like, "All right, cool. I'll maybe come back by later when you're maybe feeling like you want to get rid of these." And like 3 hours later, I walked by, and out of the 5 dudes I'd picked up, only one was still left. I'm like, okay, I'll buy these now because I won't get them if I wait any more time.
I lost that.
I bargained and I lost, but I still walked away with cool toys. I'm happy with what I got. But
if people that didn't get to go, if you're wondering if we're exaggerating, I helped Orson set up and run the booth this weekend, but like I missed the first few hours of the Saturday dealer room because I was sleeping because we didn't go to bed till like 4 a.m. and then I got no sleep until everybody was out of the room. You know, and so then I finally got a couple hours.
Shout out to 7 Alarms.
Oh God, what a murder surge. Anyways, shout out to murder again. Double murder in this economy? But so we helped Orson set up, I think by the numbers, for Sunday morning, by value, like monetary value, Orson had sold 75% of what he brought. I would say product wise, he probably sold 80 or 85%. We had totes full of loose figures, and like we had his booth full, jam packed. Like we were working to try to figure out how to get everything out. And we had tubs full of figures. He had 2 tables, and the tubs were full. You know, some were like, you know, this deep. A couple of them were double deep, laid out filling the table. Like that many loose figures full of tubs. By the end of the convention, there were no more tubs. There were just individual bagged loose figures on the table, very spread out. You know, like they weren't packed in the slightest, to where his like multiple huge totes of loose figures we put in 3 like Kroger bags to take out. That was all he had left.
Tell him the story about, share the story about, you guys know it better, about Christian's Zeta Superion.
I don't know the story. I mean, we put stuff out. You guys brought
it down. Weren't you guys trying to like get it out and sort of display it nicely? And then like,
I wasn't involved in that one. Okay. It was one, like we were running out and I'm like, what's this box of toys over here? And he's like, oh, it's Christian stuff. And like the shelves are looking bare. So I just started putting stuff out and, you know, and making it look nice or whatever. And then, you know, people started coming by and buying it. You know, we facilitated some deals over Messenger, you know, playing proxy and going back and forth and everything. Lord Megatron bought your Who's What's It?
Cryotech, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was on fire. It made me sad that I couldn't drive because I would have.
The Superion story though is interesting because, like we've been mentioning, things were pretty crazy there. So I brought a Superitron, Zeta Superitron down on Sunday morning. I kept it up on Saturday because it didn't have the alternate combiner head. I had it with a mast head, and I didn't have the facey head. And I was like, okay, fine. Serge was like, oh, just take it down there, put it up for 300 and see what happens. I took it down there in like a tote bag, not assembled, because it's huge when it's assembled. So I had it disassembled to transit, and then Orson and Mark were putting it together. And like 5 minutes after I left the booth and they were putting it together, someone wanted to come buy it. I was like, and they're like, you know, it doesn't have the thing, right? And it's this much. I'm like, yeah, I want to buy it right now. And then he didn't because they were putting it together, but someone else did come back and buy it maybe half an hour after that. So Yeah, it was wild.
Well, it was
It
the
was a
same
wild,
way
crazy place.
at Aaron's booth. He had a Masterpiece Beast Wars Megatron, and we were literally in the process of transforming it to put it into the box, right? And someone came up and was like, "I want that," and like, so we were just like, literally like, "Here, have your half transformed Megatron," like. Here you go. But yeah, it was nuts.
I kept meaning to ask what happened to that thing,
Somebody,
and I'm glad to get the story.
some
Yeah,
dude
I
bought
started
it. It wasn't even fully transformed.
As soon as I picked it up and started getting the panels put together, some guy walked up and was like, "Is that for sale?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just getting it in the box." He's like, "I'll buy it." Here you go.
Done.
Here's the box.
Yeah.
My job here is done.
Yeah, it was. It truly was crazy. I've never seen anything like that.
What percentage of Aaron's stuff do you think sold?
Because
you helped load and unload, I would assume.
So, like, I think we consolidated like 5 totes down to 1. Like, he said that.
Listen to this. It's insane.
He said that he did better this weekend than he does at Planet Comic-Con, which is an event that has like 70,000 people a day. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was. Yeah.
That's the power of a targeted convention too.
Well, the other thing too is like the prices have like went way up for everything. Like 2019, there's like pre-COVID and post-COVID prices now. So
it's
like,
called the before times.
Yeah, the before times and after. Everything is like way more expensive now, like on vintage stuff and all that. And so it's crazy. But then all of it's moving. You know, I mean, you can't keep it in stock. So.
And Nick had a very good weekend as well. His store, shout out to St. Mark's Comics for real. If you're nearby, you should go there and say hi to
New
Nick.
York.
Yeah. He has talked about the store has been doing really well. And so he's like,
docs Nick.
No, it's
okay.
No,
St.
like,
Mark's
go
Comics.
to St. Mark's Comics. I'm sure he would appreciate that.
Go
Not
find
giving
Nick.
his home
Brooklyn, New
address.
York, right?
Yeah, it's in Brooklyn.
But yeah, like
Where are your Timbs?
he didn't have a lot of stock to bring, so he was buying collections at the show and just immediately selling them. Just going through it. So it was.
Yeah, I brought him about 4 boxes of stuff. I bet there was 1 box left by the end of the con.
Another one of our friends, and Peter will be right back, people. Another one of our friends bought him a bunch of stuff and just went David's stuff. Just flying off the shelves.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And there were a lot of dealers there. I felt Transformerland I really missed. I know Peter would feel the same. We talked to the other person there. Yeah, me, you, and Peter.
Yeah.
Or me, Lucas, Peter. We all chatted to him. They just said they were tired. They'd been doing a bunch of conventions. They were just like,
well, they were saying that they've sold so much stuff online that they didn't really have a lot to bring to the show themselves, which is crazy.
If you've ever seen Transformerland's booth, it's usually like 6 tables, 8 tables, or something insane, and it's packed.
They have one of the best setups I've ever seen, and I really did miss them. I'm glad they're doing well. Shout out to Transformerland.
Yeah,
but I did miss them.
But there were still a lot of other, Transformerland. I always think of them as a vintage dealer because they have like the deep cut stuff that other places don't have, but they have everything. But there was a lot of other, vintage stuff there as well, and just all eras. There were loose figures and dig through the tubs for junk if you're into that, all the way to box stuff. It was everything. There was a lot of custom stuff too, like the I don't know what they're, but I think I'm kind of like Etsy style stuff, like handmade items that were there. There was one with had a bunch of the dolls type stuff, the cotton stuffed figures that they made, and by the end of the show they also looked like a desert, and they had a lot of stuff, and it was just like, now you can pick from 4 things, whereas before I had 100. I'm exaggerating a bit, but
so one pattern I did seem to notice is that a lot of the higher ticket items weren't going. The Unicrons, it looked like everyone still had the Unicrons at the end of the show. The Robeson Primes were selling. Some of the higher end Japanese MPs I didn't see really selling, but just about everything else was moving at a really good clip.
I mean, even if it was like 300 and down, most of that stuff sold. Some random stuff didn't, which was
if you're
like some
talking
Fans Toy stuff didn't sell, which was surprising. You know, like you would expect that to fly off, but I guess those guys were sated already. I don't know.
But yeah, if you were, below 300, your items were moving. People had, I think, long lists of things they wanted to buy. They had pretty significant budgets, but maybe not a Unicron to ship back home kind of budget.
Kids walked up with wads of cash. 10 and 12-year-olds walked up with rolls of bills. They're like, "What's that? I want that." Here you go.
No,
Shout out to drug dealing.
That was one of those things where I was helping out a couple kids with some Power Master Primes at Aaron's booth, and I didn't expect them to pay the asking price. It was one of those things where it's like, it's X amount of dollars, and they're like, "All right, here, hold on, here you go." Like, I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like, my kid doesn't have that much money, but I don't know. Apparently, my kid's spending too much money on Fortnite skins. But
I mean, this is definitely 2 years of Transformer nerd vacation budget stocking up. And they finally went out.
Another thing I think is interesting is that I feel like now that the people that were Unicron Trilogy era and whatnot have grown up, that a lot of that stuff is moving now too. Like, it used to be, 5-10 years ago, where that stuff just wouldn't move, and now, like, Aaron had a bin full of it, and it
because Christian and Serge bought all of it. Christian and Serge is like piles of loot from TFCon. Was just like, here's the Unicron trilogy.
Well, Christian did. Serge had movie crap.
Oh, well, he had both. Serge had both.
Now, did Serge buy that big display?
He did. Someone bought it out before he could.
Oh, one of the sellers
was gone.
Had a store display of some movie figure, right? There was like
Dark of the Moon, Ultimate Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Rick bought a store display of Energon Omega Supreme.
He bought that on the way to the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake.
I think he knew a guy who knew a guy type of thing, and swung by on the way down. It's like before the show, he had already bought that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually not the only one in the Unicron Trilogy game these days. I have competition now to complete Cybertron stuff. The prices on that have gone up so much in the past year, and I think it just shows that people my age and around my age are getting money now and getting nostalgic for the toys we had growing up.
I noticed they went up when I was selling them last year. It's like a lot of those Voyagers and Leaders. It's like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I was surprised at your haul that you didn't already have some of those. Did you own them at one point and get rid of them, and now you're rebuying?
If you looked at my haul, I have only never owned 2 of those figures, and one of them is because she came out last month.
Okay. Like, I was just like, how does he not have that? And I'm like, probably switched it around.
Yep. It's actually the 4th Galaxy Force Optimus Prime I have owned.
Wow. So I still have my first. Such a dope figure. So huge.
Not selling this one.
He says that. Now.
Right.
I'm actually almost done. Like, I'm within, 25 figures of completing Cybertron.
Nice. So
how many figures are in Cybertron?
200.
So, did anybody spend much time on the panels? I just went to the third-party panel. I'll talk about the third-party panel a bit. One company just showed off a couple of Ninja Turtle add-ons, which, as someone who likes Ninja Turtles, that was cool, but I thought it was weird. The company's called Robot Hero, and they were showing but they do have robots they have made beforehand. So, Fans Toys showed off some more stuff that you can pre-order. I have way too many open pre-orders. There's a Chrome Dome, which is like, okay, you want to do Headmasters, Autobot Headmasters? How about you start on the 2 Make Toys didn't do? Or some stuff from Master Force or something. Like, why are you starting with Chrome Dome that already has a figure that's, pretty well regarded? Sure, maybe you can get more cartoon accurate, but come on, guys. New Power Glide, who there's some options out there, but I don't think any of them are great. I can't remember what else.
The DX9 power glide was
Outback.
pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, Richtofen. A lot of people like him.
Yeah.
Outback was one of the new ones they showed. So
Yeah. And Outback is needed. I'm down with that.
Yeah. So what are we going to get first? Are we going to get a Fans Toy complete mini bot lineup or a completed combiner?
I think a mini bot lineup because I think they are stuck. Well, we know they're stuck. We know they're having troubles. We don't know the status of it, but we know they're like, uh-oh, this thing weighs 1 million pounds. What do we do? There was no X-Transbots slides, which isn't a surprise because they've revealed like 40 toys supposedly coming out in the next 2 years. That obviously is never going to happen to that degree, but he didn't have anything there. MMC didn't have this in their slides, but they just put out their G2 Bruticus. I don't know why they didn't announce it at the show.
It was at the show. They had it in physical
was it?
form.
They had
It
it
wasn't
on
in the
display.
slides, but
Yeah.
it physically was at the booth.
Okay.
Physically there, and then they concurrently released an Instagram post saying that you should check out G2 Bruticus at the show.
Okay. They
Apparently
had a
I
few
missed
things,
that
some
real-
repaints.
They
The
also
what?
had their first aid. They showed their first aid off at the show as well.
He looks really nice.
He does.
Like better than I thought he was going to look, which
Yeah. And they
Who
also
had the
showed.
Steel Jaw on display?
Oh yes, Steeljaw. Yep.
Who was that? I don't remember.
It was MMC as well.
Skill job.
It was MMC as well. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
They're doing the Autobot cassettes now.
Apparently.
I'm
And
trying
then
to
they
pull-
also showed off at their booth the Eris, the whatchamacallit, the Tarn.
female Tarn.
The female
Yeah.
Tarn.
Coulter Eris or whatever. So it looks like that's getting a regular release. But what they're going to do is they're like tweaking the colors a little bit on the regular release. So if you already got it, that'll be different colors.
Buy it again.
Yes.
Iron Factory had a crap ton of legends, a lot of the ninja stuff. But what
They had
Christian
mini bots
cares?
for Iron Factory as well, right?
Yes, it looks like there's a Huffer, a Beachcomber, pipes,
I think
So, yeah,
there's a
they're-
Sea Spray and a Powerglide as well.
Sea
right?
Spray.
Yeah, I remember seeing Sea Spray.
Those
I
all
don't
looked
see-
really, really good. I thought they had those.
Oh.
They were showing those off at the booth. So there wasn't a ton. There was really no like test shots. I don't know if that's like just not a thing anymore.
Well, they had the three. It looked like the extra cases where they usually put a lot of the third-party prototypes or upcoming stuff, and they were wrapped in gray trash bags or black trash bags the entire weekend. They did not set up that. Now, Chosen Prime did have some awesome displays up like they always do with current and upcoming stuff. So they had the 2 train bots from Moon Studios that looked awesome, and the IDW Grimlock, who also looks awesome from Planet X.
yes.
I'll fight you, Phil.
But the head design, I can't get around it. It's not, the toy looks amazing. If you like that design, the toy is a 3-dimensional version of that Milne design Grimlock. I'm just not, and I love Milne's designs except for his Grimlock. They did tease they're doing a sludge though.
That they are.
Yep.
But the only thing Christian really cares about from here was the fans hobby reveals. They showed off Energon Optimus Prime again,
Looks
but
good.
Armada Overload got announced, Armada Tidal Wave, and which I think, I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but feels like the most popular Unicron Trilogy figure or toy. Like
Not
people,
even just
votes.
most popular Armada, like most popular Unicron trilogy.
yes, like people
Yeah.
love Armada Tidal Wave, and then they showed off some more of
Don't be
Armada
wrong.
Megatron, which even I'm tempted by that thing.
The
It just looks
Overload and the
cool.
Tidal Wave do combine with their Armada Optimus and Megatron.
Yeah, like it makes me want to buy all that stuff. The Megatron is going to be hard for me not to buy it.
I'm sure they would appreciate if you bought all of that, Rob.
I still
Sure they
haven't
would.
gotten the Armada Prime. I don't know if I will,
What?
but I will get the Energon one. That one looks really good.
Yeah.
What?
And for me, I really love the Energon with Wing Saber, and that will just be If I can
I'll
get
do that.
me an updated Wing Saber and Energon Prime, like I will be a very happy person who's got less money in his wallet.
So there were some other things, but I think that's enough of the beats on that. Not trying to kill Con, I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to go through and read every figure or anything. It's just
no, but like the third party stuff felt a little bit lighter. Again, like you said, X-Transbots had done a massive amount of reveals online lately. I don't think all these, third party companies are necessarily waiting for TFCon anymore like they used to. Maybe they'll start back up again. But it there's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, Chosen Prime, which is primarily selling third party stuff, like they were full. They had a lot of things to sell. TF Source had a lot of third party toys to sell. So you're not lacking on getting, third party toys.
Not by the end of the convention.
Well,
they did not have a lot to sell.
Yeah.
So many empty shelves. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, Friday afternoon they had a lot of stuff to sell before the unwashed masses came in, it was but yeah, for if you were excited to go to TFCon for a lot of third party reveals, you might have walked away a little bit disappointed. But for what I saw, it was some cool stuff. Seeing those two train bots in person is like, yeah, going to pre-order those big dudes. Like that's going to be a massive freaking toy.
Oh yeah.
I wish some more people had went to other panels just so we could talk about them, but I think this is another case of late stage transformerism where a few years back I just started going to less and less panels because I felt like I'd seen it all, heard it all. And it's fun working the dealer room, to be honest, just to hang out there. You chat with people while your friends are coming by, you're chatting with them, and sell some toys. You get to keep setting up the shelves, which is, from an OCD point of view, pretty fun in a way.
But some shows you don't get to do that. Some shows it's just like, please buy my things, please. Someone, I'll drop the prices again. No, not.
I'm gonna put up a big banner.
Yep.
5% off.
4 sell.
That's
5 sell, even 6 sell.
Most of the cast went to Rick's panel on Saturday.
I didn't. Screw you, Rick.
I said most.
I was taking nap.
And that was good. He told some stories that I actually hadn't heard before, so that was pretty cool. And I wanted to go to the Budiansky thing, but as mentioned before, the Potbelly fiasco. And I wanted to go to more panels than that, but we slept in on Saturday accidentally, and then Sunday
Intentionally slept in on Sunday.
Yeah, and then we were kind of scrambling on Sunday for various reasons. And it was good on the third party panel. I managed to catch that. It was good to hear Ryan's voice. He couldn't make it in person, but
shout out to Ryan.
Shout out to Ryan. It was good to hear him give his he's the dude that gives the third party presentation, and it was good to hear him. The end.
Yeah, I guess that would maybe be the only complaint I have is that the panel section, just the way the hotel was laid out, the panel section was literally in another building that you had to walk across to get to. Like there was a skyway, but it did just feel like
it felt close to me.
I didn't feel that way.
Yeah,
it wasn't that far away.
I've been to some of us have been to some BotCons where they were far away.
Yeah,
that was not far away. That wasn't next door, but that felt average. And if you were walking with a friend, you were there in half a second. If you were chatting. So.
All right. I mean, it's just me.
The hotel ran out of water really early in the day. Like they have the little water tanks by like 10 or 11. That water was gone, and they did not refill it.
There was a drinking fountain right across from there.
Right across.
No, I'm not using that in COVID times. Gross.
They had cups. The hotel had cups out.
Yeah, but still gross. I mean, how do I know people aren't using it the way they do in Parks and Rec?
Oh, they definitely were.
So.
But I thought overall the hotel, it was a nice location. I think it was a good venue.
Bed sucked.
I liked it.
Tiny. Well, when you had to split
share
them
with another large human being.
Well, I didn't have to split it, so there you go.
Yeah.
The beds were
narrow. Look at me, I'm Luke.
You had your own room.
Bag.
Yeah, whatever, Christian.
Shut up. Yeah.
Trying to get away with it. I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids.
We're adults. We're 40.
Meddling 40-year-olds.
But to me, I think like the biggest negative of the weekend was just that I had to fly because I'm on the cusp of another big purge, and like I could have brought a bunch of stuff up, and I'd have had plenty of room after. By the time I woke up on Friday, I would have had plenty of, or Saturday, I would have had plenty of room already by then to put out some stuff since I was helping Orson all weekend.
I told Nick when he was setting up on Friday that, hey, if they don't announce that 2022 is going to be in Chicago, I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff to purge. And I will not be sending Nick a bunch of stuff because TFCon 2022 in the fall will be in my backyard.
I mean, that is just an absolute shock that happened.
Shout out to Phil's house.
Wait. Don't sit here and tell me that is a shock. We were discussing all sorts of rumors that we had heard from different people that it was going to be in such and such a location or other location. But yes, it was not a complete shock, but I was very welcome to see it.
So TFCon 2020 in the fall was in Chicago, right? Well, the way that it works with these hotels is it's not like they just
TFCon 2020. Don't remember that one.
Yeah, so it got delayed, but like the way that it works with these hotels is like if you signed a contract, they don't let you just like completely get out of it. Like you're gonna have to eventually like hold an event there, and so like that's where it just made sense to me. Like I would bet my bottom dollar that TFCon in the spring of 2023 will be in Orlando. Like I have not heard anything, but just the fact that they had that other one planned there, like at some point they're gonna bring it back because they had to do something with the hotel.
What's amusing to me is that this is the umpteenth time TFCon's had it in Chicago when FunPub told us how they could never do a show in Chicago. It was too expensive. Blah, 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 blah. And by the time they eventually had one in Chicago, it was not in Chicago at all.
So all of the TFCons have not been in Chicago. They've been in Rosemont. So it is,
to be fair,
it is a technical accurate point.
Okay.
Also, Baltimore was the first TFCon to be in the city it claims to be in ever.
Interesting. That is fun.
It was right next to the Baltimore Convention Center, which had a big comic convention going on at the same time. It was literally right next to the street to Camden Yards, which wasn't being used because the Orioles aren't in the playoffs. And it was half a mile away from the Baltimore Ravens Stadium, which was being used Sunday, which is how Rob, Serge, and I got to meet a bunch of Ravens fans up close and personal. But yeah, it was, it was cool. Baltimore is a city.
Deep insights with Phil.
Yeah.
Every week
My
on
wife-
TFYLP.
My wife yelled at me because I said like the only local cuisine I really got was a crab cake the first day I was there and some cookies, and the rest of the time it was chain restaurants. But because you had so much going on, like it was hard to get tables at places. It was hard to get food delivered. It was a more convention center type area, so you didn't have a ton of local places to go to around there. It was mainly, the chain things. And unfortunately, because of COVID, it was, all right, do we really want to get a big group to go out somewhere at a restaurant?
Like even non-COVID, I already don't want a big group to go out. Like I like being with everyone, but it's just a hassle. Yeah. It's a headache for everyone involved. The servers hate you. Like getting everyone to walk and to pick a place. It's just split up into
I think
4 and 5.
Anyone in our group that's from Baltimore, we didn't have like a guide to be like, this is where we're going to go, and this is where you should go. I feel like that cat's going to walk out of Christian's screen and then into Rob's.
Yoshi has some brown in him.
Okay.
So.
I get it. They're different colors, but it's just like there's been like, oh, I see a cat walking across this square, and then
somebody's
in this square,
and then the cat on my shoulder. You see a tail.
I don't know. Yeah. I know. Like I feel like a lot of times for these conventions, like I don't actually do anything locally, and part of that is like TFCon Chicago is not actually in Chicago, so it's like I don't want to drive the 45 minutes or whatever to downtown Chicago to check stuff out. But like this actually was like, it was in the Inner Harbor, and so there's a lot of cool sites. Like I think there's an aquarium that was close that some people went to. There's like other cool things to check out and whatnot. Like we went to the Lexington Market, so I think that might have been the first time I've actually done it, even any sightseeing really outside of that. But I will say I did like Reston a little bit better for like the places to eat and whatnot. Like there's a lot of walkable restaurants.
There was a Potbelly right there.
In Reston.
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go.
Did they have a pita place that's closed on Saturdays and Sundays?
That place pissed me right the hell off. Holy moly! When Potbelly started falling apart, we kind of meandered a bit, and it's like pitas, and baba ganoush, and all this. It's like yay, Mediterranean food, and we ran. I think I ran by myself, and they were closed. Yeah. Closed on Saturday and Sunday. Just a sign, closed Saturday and Sunday. Why the hell?
At least they had a sign, because when we first tried to get into Potbellies, both doors were locked.
Both doors were locked, yeah, and then the comical just like yanking on the door.
Yeah.
So it was a good convention.
Yeah.
I was
glad
to be there. Fate's willing, Chicago shouldn't be a problem. Like you were talking about selling toys, Phil. The difference is I would bring a bunch to sell at Chicago, but I'm probably going to have purged it by then. I'm not going to sit on it for a year to bring it to a show. And I'll probably just eBay and deal with shipping crap. But
can I drive up and then drive up with you?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes, let's pencil that in. Yes, please. My driving buddy no longer lives here.
Done.
Yeah, I'm excited for Chicago myself. It's only 8 hours instead of 16, so that'll be nice.
Lucas, you do look like a man who has driven 32 hours in the last week. No, I'm not even like talking commutes. Just you look worn down.
Oh, yeah. And especially for our audio listeners, but even like the people watching on YouTube, like you cannot appreciate Lucas's beautiful flowing locks and soft hair until you see them in person.
It's really magnificent.
Like I wanted his hair to be my pillow instead of my pillow.
What?
I thought.
What was really funny about that is I feel like no one recognized me with the long hair.
I did not recognize you at
where
first.
People were like, "Wait, oh, that's you." I didn't know that. So
between the masks and the longer hair, I could see that.
Yeah, no, Casey Collier. Like I went up to his booth, and he was just like, "Hey, whatever." And then I started talking to him, and he's like, "Lucas, like, oh, because." We've had Casey as a guest before at TF Expo, so he didn't recognize me, like, with the long hair and whatnot.
I mean, I see you almost every week, right? And you walked in with your mask. I had no idea who you were. You took it off, and I still didn't know. And like it literally took me like a solid.
Said, Rob, I'm Lucas, and you're just like, it's not ringing the bell.
But it took a solid beat or two after you took off your mask. I was like, oh, it's Lucas.
It took me 0 beats, just by the way.
I'm also slow and old.
It was you the whole time.
Antoine pointed out that someone called Lucas Winter Soldier, and we're like, that's
it. He definitely has the Winter Soldier look.
Yeah.
That's what I need to do for Halloween, right? With my kids. I need to get that arm.
Still got time.
Put some aluminum foil all over your arm and go to town.
Aluminum foil and a Sharpie to draw the lines on it.
Yeah, it'd be great. We should do it. If you were there,
we weird that now that I've hung out with you guys in person, this podcast, I'm just done with you fools. Just done with you losers. Shared a room with several of you, and it's lost all its magic now.
I saw you in your underpants.
Wow, that's intimate.
Yes.
Oh,
is that really
at least you had underwear on, unlike Grant.
Is sharing a room with multiple cast members? You're like, this is.
I mean, we were pretty respectful of each other. I will say that.
Except for Serge
and Phil, who runs in yelling. when he shows up. And
I
then
was excited to see you dudes
you were excited to wake us up.
because I wanted to see you, and I didn't want you to sleep because I wanted you to hang out with me.
Was tired. I was a sleepy boy.
I was also tired because I had an early flight, and you jerks called me at midnight.
I did not. That was a completely
I was
different
not
room.
responsible for that.
Yeah.
Lucas is partially responsible for that.
Hey man, I wasn't the one that called you, so
That's true,
that
but you
was-
were on the
that
call.
was Paul.
You were
I was
far
present.
too much fun.
I was present for it, so
I will say, if I don't know if he'll post them, but if Paul does choose to post pics of his suite with all of his toys lined up there, like that was an impressive sight. That man brought a lot of toys to sell in that room, and he turned a hotel suite into a, like, not even a vendor booth. Like, that thing looked like a Toys R Us toy aisle in the 1980s.
It looked like a combination of that and like social lounge, because there
It
was
a
like,
great place to hang out.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was, the whole cast was there, plus all of our new friends and some of our listeners, and it was great. And then we were just surrounded by walls of toys.
Like,
Great stuff.
literally,
I feel like this is the
floor-to-ceiling
idea.
toys.
This is the idea for the new Toys R Us. When they do the remodel, just turn it into like a bar lounge with a bunch of toys.
Toys and bars.
And then just-
We're all of drinking age.
Yep, I'll take that one, and then you just play with the toy while you have your Pepsi or your beverage, whatever.
On that note, one thing I did feel was down was room to room sales, but I also don't know if it's just we didn't go to many because we were too busy socializing with each other.
We
I
found
can
the
see-
list downstairs, and we went to a
visited
few of them.
several.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there weren't as many. There didn't seem to be as many as there have been in the past, and I know for a fact that there were some that weren't advertised on the board.
Oh.
But
I felt
think-
a little uncomfortable in those rooms, like
Yeah.
due to COVID reasons.
Yeah.
So that was definitely something I was. Paul's room, he had the balcony with the door open, so we had some nice ventilation in there, and I felt comfortable taking my mask off there. But certainly when we were in the other sellers' rooms, it was like, no, this mask is staying on. And there was one room that was very warm, and I was like, I felt like I was going to pass out in one of those rooms. So I could see why that was not as popular as other years.
I didn't have a problem in Paul's room because it was mostly us, and I knew we're all vaccinated, and so it didn't bother me near as much. But we're running around room to room. Yeah, it's.
I think part of the thing was too with the parts parties is like, I know Brett a lot of times always has like a really good one.
Yeah.
And
He wasn't
a couple
there this
other
year.
guys. I was trying to think, isn't there another guy that's a vintage guy that wasn't there? But
I know
couple others.
there's a couple of like faces I know, that
Yeah.
you see a lot that weren't there. Like Tony Prito wasn't there. I assume he still does shows.
Oh yeah, I
There's-
forgot Tony wasn't there. Yeah.
Is there anyone?
There's another face or two. I don't know their names, but like there's the guy with the cane who's had a lot of shows.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Harold.
That's what
Harold.
I
I thought it was
Harold.
Harold, but I wasn't sure.
Was
There's
there
still
any
another
of our
one.
friends that bought anything from those room deals? Is there anyone that bought like anything like really cool and interesting and expensive and
Show up next
hard
week.
to come by?
Show up next week for our TFCon
Yeah.
halls / ouch my TFCon
Yeah.
show we're gonna do, where we're gonna probably quickly go through everyone's halls, and it'll still be a 2.5 hour show.
If we can get a new gentleman to join in on the discussion, he had I think the largest ouch my wallet.
Yeah. Well, I know one of Aaron's friends, or like one of our other friends, he bought a couple lucky draws too from like a room sale. So
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is one thing I did say earlier, that the high price stuff didn't really go. The high price lucky draws and prototypes, those were selling
right.
specifically to one of our friends.
Yeah. Orson, I think, brought 5 prototypes and left with 2. I think is how it went.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun weekend. It was, doing the PulseCon thing on Friday, like as we were before we all started setting up booths. I think we were all still kind of chilling out in our hotel rooms, getting ready to set up, and then it was head down to the show floor, help people set up, and then we all 5:00 took a break. Everyone get on your phone and buy the thing that just came out, and okay, now go back to setting up. That was a fun experience to have, both the communal experience of being around a bunch of your friends and collectors when a drop like that goes live, and then again just to see everyone and hang out, and it was a good, well attended, well run show that I'm looking forward to the next one I go to.
I don't think he listens to the show, but shout out to James as well, because he brought me my liquor, which was my close companion every evening until it was gone, and he also brought us a bunch of candy for us, and we ate a lot of that candy as well.
James was the definition of a mensch this weekend.
He's too nice. He's too nice to us, a bunch of jerks.
Yeah.
So.
Antoine brought up Agabus. That's right. I didn't.
Agabus. Agabus did not set up as well.
Yeah.
So there was.
I wonder if they feel like they missed out, or unless the other company
they didn't have enough.
I don't think Agabus usually sets up on the East Coast ones. I don't think that they did at.
They did in Chicago.
The Reston. Yeah, but they. I don't think that they did at the Reston one. They usually do.
I'm pretty sure they were in Reston in 19.
Or wherever 19 was, they were set up there because I bought Magna Inventa from them. It was one of the it was the last one on the floor or next to last, because I remember afterwards, Peter, you were trying to find it, and did you find it?
I did.
Okay. Yep. But yeah,
there's a
that thing
new
was running
Magna Inventa coming up. By the way, the toy
there
colors.
is with a
slightly lighter blue.
Yes.
It's calling it cartoon colors, but I still don't think it's really any more or less cartoon accurate than the original one. But it's good that it's coming out, because it's a $400 set now, $400 to $500 set on eBay, and the new set I think if you get from PSX is $250 for the set. So that's a lot better. So it's a reason to re-release it, right? Now it looks more like this one animation frame.
Did everyone else's screen just freak out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Skype is telling us to shut up and go to bed.
Yeah.
Apparently. Yeah.
So, and everyone in the comments is telling me that confirming that Agabus was at rest in 2019. So, unfortunately for me, they all run together. And so
same.
I forget which ones. So I have to kind of try to remember. So
the only reason I remember is because I remember Agabus's display they had up that year, because they had gated off sometimes with ropes, and they had a bunch of cool little displays set up, and it just stuck with me. And I know I bought Magna, but that's the only reason I remember. Normally it all blurs.
Oh, I was going to mention that the custom class was somewhat of a dud. So we've always been very excited for past custom classes. So Christian and I signed up, and Anna. Christian and I, once we found out what the figure was, which was the Flame Toys model kit, was it a Nemesis Prime Shatter?
Yeah, it was a Nemesis Prime. It was from the worst of the 3 Optimus molds, the super anime style, but not the one that actually looks like the cartoon. Anyway, stylized.
Yeah. So we ended up canceling custom class, and luckily they had a waiting list, so we were able to exchange out our tickets. But it sounded like the people that did do the class, that it was not the greatest. So
because I think Anna and Catherine went, right, and I think they said they painted their stuff on the sprues and said, I'm out. They didn't bother assembling or taking it apart or anything. They just painted it and left.
Yeah. So, and it sounds like that the people that did do it, that a lot of people didn't finish there or whatnot. So, I don't know. Hopefully they, can take some of that feedback, and, hopefully in the future years that we'll have, something different. I mean, I don't think it was bad to try, something new. It just didn't seem to work out that well. So
I suspect because of COVID, it may be, the all too classic beggars can't be choosers, and the TFCon custom class is usually a figure that has not sold well, and they get a bunch of stock at cheaper because one time it was the kit they made Bob into was Insecticons that weren't selling very well. When they did the Optimus Primal figure, it was an MFC figure that I think Nova Prime that wasn't selling very well, and it was just a base figure at that. It wasn't a trailer. So like, to kind of have a bit of a history of, which I'm not throwing shade or anything, just saying it's lots of times what it is. It's who has stock of something that we can get, 40 of or however many people they
Right,
put
but I mean,
through.
I think a lot of times, if they're in the past, they've been able to turn it into kind of a somewhat
At least something
reimagined
interesting.
figure, and it transformed, which this one, of course, didn't. I think the thing that was like a little disappointing for me, and I'm so glad that I didn't end up doing it, is if I had painted this figure, I would have wanted to do it right. So I would have wanted to do it with airbrushing or spray paint, and they didn't do that for this one. It was just brushwork. Now, the reason is because you can't have 50 people spray painting a figure in a unventilated hotel room.
Oh, you can. I mean, it would be marvelous in the end result, but there might be some health code violations there.
Right.
Now, I've done customizing classes where there has been airbrushing, but it's usually like a small piece. It's not, everything. It's like this one part we're going to airbrush, and usually like they do it. Like they're like, I'll just do it for you real quick. Here you go. Continue on your job.
Right.
John in the chat makes a good point too. That isn't the point of a customizing class, so that you learn how to disassemble and reassemble a figure like you would as a customizer to get all the parts painted properly. And yet to do that with a model kit feels like you're missing part of that experience.
It's the retail experience of buying a model kit.
And that's kind of why I think, and I don't know, Christian, and others who have done the BotCon classes, it definitely does seem like that was something that, even though it was a Hasbro figure that you were doing, seemed like that you learned a little bit more at some of those classes than, some of these.
BotCon customizing classes were something I signed up for every year starting at some point, and I always hated myself for doing it, but then I would still sign up for it the next year. It was, some figures weren't so bad, but some of them were terrible to put together, and they took forever. But it was definitely, there were some interesting bits to just, at least seeing that, putting it together, learning how much pins suck, and learning how much like, I put that one part that looks very similar backwards like 20 steps ago. Shit.
Been there.
Shout out to fucking up a custom figure.
Not the shout out I want.
So, well, was there anything else we missed from the show?
Pretty thorough coverage.
I'm sure in our drunken stupor there was a lot of things that we missed, but I think this is all we remember.
There was a lot of drinking.
Yeah,
At least
I
on
was
my end.
Christian was sober.
Yeah.
Can't vouch that we covered all of it.
Don't worry, I drank enough for you two as well. I had to cover.
Thanks.
You did. That was unhealthy.
It was definitely unhealthy. That was the point.
Yeah.
I have no interest in drinking for a while, I'll tell you that. I'm good. I got it out of my system by getting it into my system.
Till the next BotCon. Or
TFCon,
not
but yes.
TFCon. All right, well, book club this week is going to be RID 50 and 51, and then Night of the Living Dead. So join the book club Sunday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central on the TF Talk Discord.
It'll be extra spooky.
Here you go, yeah, Halloween night.
You're gonna have the horror sounds playing in the background the whole time. You know that.
Ooh.
I just
Spooky
imagine
sounds.
like everyone like talking and sharing their ideas. Like everyone, every 2 minutes, someone's doorbell's ringing and they have to like give out candy to trick or treaters.
It's like, hold on.
Yeah,
Microcasters will be on tomorrow. We'll be talking about Gnaw. 2D series Gnaw.
Oh hell no!
Exactly.
Shout out to Nah.
Shout out to Gnaw. Shout out to Microcasters. My own show. I can shout out to it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Shout out to me
Shout out to me.
and my humbleness.
Shout out to humility.
All right.
And then
Well, thank
doing
you.
And then TFYLP is next Monday, right? As well, and it's going to be the Out to My TFCon, or we're going to try to do that midweek next week.
I think we'll just do it on Monday's show. I think that probably works. So,
Sounds good.
Thank you, guys, for joining me. Thank you to everyone in the chat tonight. Thanks to Antoine and Zaldron. Thanks to John. Thanks to Catherine. Thanks to Ron. Thanks to who else? Daniel. Thanks to Big Daddy Reviews. Who else did I miss here? Is there anyone I missed? Enoch earlier.
Already forgotten whose names you said. Thank you, everyone. Hello,
Shout out
Yoshi.
to everyone in the chat. There you go.
Yeah. So thank you to everyone in the chat, and we will see you next week.
Bye.